All right, so with the whole Canada gun ban going on and whatnot, I'm going to keep making more and more videos, kind of just like I say, exposing the truth behind it. And like I say, I've said several times that this is going to have no effect on crime. These guns commit incredibly small amount of murders. I played the video and made a video on the Winnipeg police. I don't know if he's a police chief or a police officer saying it's going to have no effect on crime whatsoever. And he said that 99% roughly of guns used in crimes are already illegal, which means that even an outright gun ban would have no little to no effect. And then I seen this, so I thought I'd make a video about it. Now, this is from a random Canadian guy, and he says, according to CBC, the guns listed in Trudeau's OIC account for 20 deaths and 52 injuries in Canadian mass shootings out of 18,166 homicides during that time. 0.11% of homicides in 30 years. I'm worried about the 99.89% the government isn't addressing. Now, this is like there's many problems with this. Number one, it definitively proves that the goal isn't public safety. They don't care about saving lives. Um, do you honestly think that it's worth billions of dollars to prevent 20 deaths over the last 30 years? We're talking $100 million per life. You're telling me that if we spent $100 million in other aspects, we couldn't save more lives? Like, come on, it's not even close. We could save thousands of lives, tens of thousands of lives with that money. And you're arguing that we should do it to save 20 people? It is entirely an emotional, I want to feel good, ooh, let's ban the scary guns. It doesn't make any sense from a logical, reasonable perspective. And the left is always big on, oh, facts and science and data and studies and all this kind of crap. But yet they completely ignore it, yeah, on tons of occasions, this being a prime example of that. So basically, yeah, like I say, the first thing to point out is that they clearly want to ban guns for reasons other than public safety. Like, it's so blatantly obvious. Like, anybody denying that at this point is a complete idiot. Because if you actually cared about lives, like I said, you wouldn't spend billions of dollars to prevent 20 deaths over the next 30 years. Let's say maybe it's 30. We're even being generous. And like I say, another reason for banning guns is that there's so many aspects to it. Is that it's like they're killing like two, three, four birds with one stone kind of thing, and that this isn't going to do anything. Crime is still going to stay steady or probably even go up because of all the tensions and how bad the economy is and the fact that we're bringing in hundreds of thousands of people every year that are disproportionately committing more crime, all this kind of stuff. Um, Crime is probably going to go up. It's only a matter of time until there's another mass shooting, and they'll say, "Oh, this means that we didn't go far enough." Again, this is one of the biggest problems with the left that the right isn't really guilty of, at least to the same degree. The left, whenever one of their policies failed, it's not, "Oh, we admit we're wrong. We should have really rethought our, rethink our thinking." They never do that. They never, ever, ever, ever do that. And don't tell me the right doesn't do that, because if the right didn't do that, they would be doing a lot better in Canada. Again, the right said constantly. I mean, talk to people on the right about why former conservative voters. Talk to them why they're no longer supporting the conservatives. It's not that, oh, they went too far to the right, or they won't admit they're wrong. It's because, hey, you guys hardly disagree with the liberals on anything. You've gone way too far to the left. You don't want to cut immigration. You don't want to scrap the carbon tax. You don't want to cut taxes. You don't want to do anything that conservatives are supposed to believe in. So that's, like I say, the main difference. And that's the problem, like I say, getting back into it with the left, is that if they actually had any credibility, they would admit when they're wrong. But they never do that, and I think that that's kind of their long-term plan, is that they know this isn't going to do anything, and when it's obvious that it isn't going to do anything, maybe next election they'll run on it, maybe the election after that, because I don't see them getting voted out anytime soon. They'll be, oh, let's ban handguns now, or at the beginning, I think it'll be, let's give cities the ability to ban handguns, and then that won't do anything, because, like I say, 90% of guns roughly are guns used in crimes are illegal to begin with, which means an outright ban won't do anything. So then that'll be their excuse to ban handguns again, and it'll only be a matter of time until someone commits a prominent crime with a hunting rifle, a bolt action rifle, and they'll call them sniper rifles, and then they'll have to ban those, and then before you know it, will we be left with anything? I mean, the current ban bans most shotguns, so again, you won't even have those. So that's their game plan here too, and people just don't seem to admit that when you give an inch, they take a mile. When you give an inch, they take a mile. They're always in it for the long run. Again, you have all these idiot, I mean, not all of them. There's actually not very many of them, but there's enough that it's significant of gun owners or people who are traditionally quote unquote pro gun, whatever, take that for what you will, that are, oh, they're just banning the scary semi autos. I don't care as long as they got my bolt actions and my pump shotguns, which you don't. But again, let's let them think they do. Uh, they'll never come after that. I'm a licensed gun owner. I follow all the rules. Well, no, you really don't. And that's the problem with that too, is that they're going to come after everything eventually. And it's not based in reality. It'd be one thing if these guns were killing thousands of people every year, but they're not. They're just not. And people will argue, oh, handguns do, are used to commit a lot. Well, first of all, the majority of them are suicides. And again, people say, oh, if you ban guns, you'd prevent suicides. No, that's not true. People just use other ways of committing suicide. I mean, you look at Japan. They have a very high suicide rate, but yet they have very strict gun control. So again, people just commit suicide with other ways. It's not like there's only one way to kill yourself. I mean, there's infinite amount of ways. And it's not like a gun is a guaranteed death either. Two people think, oh, well, yeah, a gun is, you get it over nice and quick. Well, that's not necessarily the case. A lot of people commit suicide and aren't successful, even with guns. Guns aren't quite as lethal as what people think. I believe the official stats show about 30% of people, gunshots have about a 30% chance of killing you, which means most people survive. Now, again, a lot of people get shot more than once. So that kind of throws a wrench into things. But um, and the other big problem too to bring up is that the left talks out. I mean, not that they don't talk out of both sides of their mouth about other stuff. There's no shortage of that. But they talk out of both sides of their mouth when it comes to this kind of stuff in many ways. Number one, it's, oh, Canada has a lower murder rate than the States because of our gun control. Uh, but on the other hand, they'll be like, we need to ban these semi-automatic guns because there's shootings. People are getting shot left, right, and center. Every day there's a mass shooting. At least that's what they make it seem like. So again, which one is it? Which one is it? And the reality is that Canada has a lower murder rate than the States because we've always had a lower murder rate than the States. The States' murder rate is high not because of their gun control, because they have so many densely populated cities and they have a higher minority population. It's basically exclusively explains that kind of stuff. Um, but anyway, that's basically what I wanted to bring up today. Like I say, the government is going full tilt against trying to ban guns, so I'm going to go full tilt in making videos debunking all their stupid BS anti-gun arguments. I mean, not that they weren't already very easy to debunk in the first place, but again, the main point of this being is that if the goal is to save lives, why spend billions of dollars to? And like I mentioned too, this is something that the anti-gun people I mean, they don't understand anything. But one of the things that's very important when it comes to this is that they think that it's as simple as the government signing a piece of paper that, oh, guns are banned, it's all it's all set, we don't got anything more to worry about. But that's not the case. The government is going to have to buy back the guns. And the problem with the buyback is, number one, it's going to cost a lot of money, and number two, the less you offer people for their guns, the less likely they're going to be to turn them in. Because if the government offers you $500 for two or $2,500 gun, most people aren't going to turn that in. If the government offers you full price, people will be more likely to turn it in, but it's just going to cost that much more for the taxpayers. So it's a lose-lose scenario. And I think a lot of people, even if they got offered full value, still wouldn't turn it in. I mean, I'm not going to make any suggestions as far as that stuff goes, but that's, like I say, that's the problem too, is that these people, they don't understand that it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost the legal system a lot of money because people aren't going to abide by it. Um, Even a lot of cops don't even seem to know the rule. Again, I've said in past videos that a lot of police the RCMP saying, yeah, it's literally up for the officer's discretion, which means one officer might let you still use these guns. The next one's going to throw the book at you. So that's the problem too, is that we're going to be using up, taxpayer money prosecuting people who were turned into criminals overnight, and some of them may not even know, because again, the whole shotgun thing is we don't even know. So that's the problem with this kind of stuff. And like I said, the main point of that being is that people don't understand the amount of money that is going to need to be spent to enforce this gun ban. It's not as simple as signing a piece of paper. And as crazy as that sounds, there's a lot of these anti-gun people out there who just believe that. They literally believe that, hey, you sign a piece of paper, the problem goes away. That's not how it works. So anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. If you'd like to, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Check out my PayPal and email. I got linked in the description. I appreciate any donations, but at the very least, just hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. And last couple things, as always, check me out on Twitter if you haven't already, and check out my BitChute if you haven't already as well. Again, all the links are in the description, so you can go check it out.